What is up, everybody? Jordan from the driver's seat here, and today I have one of my coworkers, Matt. He's the one I trust to detail all of my vehicles personally.
Oh yeah.
Does an excellent job. So we're here, got his 2016 Volkswagen Golf Type R. It is Type R, right?
I think it's just R. I believe.
Golf R.
Yeah, I don't think they call it Type R. I'm pretty sure it's just R.
Gotcha. Can always use more education.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta say, this thing drives really, really nice. I looked it up, 290 horsepower from the factory, 282 foot-pounds of torque. But Matt told me that is not what it's sitting at right now. I'll let him go into some details on the work he's done here and what kind of horsepower numbers it's pushing.
So I got a tune from 034 Motorsports, and it's a stage 2 ECU tune for the 2.0, and 91 octane. And it's making close to 400 horsepower, about 383, I believe is what their chart said. Then put a integrated engineering 200 cell catted downpipe in. NVIDIA exhaust. I did not put that on. The previous owner did, which was helping me out save some money on my end.
And we both know the previous owner.
Yes.
He's actually our lot manager at work.
Yep.
Awesome guy. Had a Focus ST before this, and then congratulations to him. He just had a baby, so unfortunately had to do what a lot of people have to do. Got rid of the fun car for a more practical family vehicle.
Yeah. Well, he'll get something nice.
Oh, he definitely will. He won't be able to wait for very long.
No. Yep. And then he put I believe he threw a short throw in it, and he did the likewise shift knob, and then he did this really cool, like, what would you call that again?
Plaid?
Yeah, plaid. I couldn't remember the name, but it's, the really cool, like, blue plaid. I thought that was really cool. I like it.
Yeah, and this shifter is awesome. I'll make sure I get a picture of it and have that up while we're talking about it. But it's super, super comfortable. This gearbox feels fantastic. I personally like it when it's really chunky. Like, by that I mean you can actually feel it going into whatever gear you want it to be going into. But it's not rough or anything like that. It just slots in really nicely, but you can definitely feel it slot in there, which is awesome.
One thing I forgot to say, he also did an APR cold air intake on it.
Oh.
True cold air intake.
So yeah, initial impressions of this thing, like I said, I'm usually more of a classic muscle guy, but I haven't quite gotten a chance to open it up. We just pulled into a Home Depot parking lot in the town I live in to do those pictures. But we're heading to a spot where we can get on it a little bit now. Ride's really smooth. Matt was telling me this thing's got adaptive suspension at all four corners, but it's still a sports car. So I mean, you can feel the bumps, but it's not like jarring.
No.
It just feels like it's nice and glued to the road. Brakes are really good, and Matt told me he's going to be upgrading those soon.
Yeah.
Personally, again, in my short drive so far, don't think it's needed it, but can never, as my old brakes teacher used to say, you can get going as fast as you want, but stopping's probably the most important thing.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Plus, it'll look, kind of give the the look a little bit better too.
That's true.
Especially with the wheel upgrade that I'm going to be doing. It's going to look a lot nicer with the wheels.
Do you know what kind of brakes you're going with? Or are you doing like Willwoods, Brembos, anything like that?
No, I unfortunately don't really have the money to afford
They are
that.
expensive.
And I'm cool with just like, if I ever go farther with it, I will eventually upgrade to a big brake kit. But right now, I don't really feel like I need it because I'm not really pushing super high, horse. And I was told like it's not really necessary at this point. They're like, if you go super crazy with it, then yeah, absolutely recommend it. But I like the factory calipers because they say they're blacked out and they say R on them.
I did think that was really sharp when I saw it.
It's nicer than just a plain old caliper with nothing.
Definitely.
So keep that.
Nicer than some teenager painting them red and making them look sporty.
You're right, exactly.
Actually comes from the factory with the R logo on there.
Yep.
It definitely is a really, really sharp looking vehicle. And I mean, when you're pushing 400 horsepower in a hot hatch that has all-wheel drive, I mean, I am really excited to be able to get on this a little bit, because I'm sure Matt told me, he's like, dude, it goes.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, that's another thing I forgot to mention. So I have not personally had a manual vehicle since November. I had a 08 Mustang that I sold. This clutch feels awesome. Like, it's very easy to find the grab point. It's not super heavy. Like, it's really nice.
And we did pull the restrictor out because it was highly recommended from ECS that you do pull the restrictor. And yeah, I gotta admit, it was pretty soft just from factory, but there's not really that major difference. I feel like it is a little bit heavier, but it's not super heavy. It's like perfect, absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I really like it. It's I was telling Matt, comparing it to my Mustang, like, that was a very heavy clutch.
Oh, super heavy. I've driven that.
Yeah. Again, he detailed all my vehicles, so there were plenty of times he'd pull it into the bay for me.
I was like, man, like, that's like, I gotta go pull the seat like super far forward. I have to really put my left foot all the way to the floor just to really get it.
Holy.
Yeah, I told you.
Yeah, okay, that pulls.
Yeah.
Gonna try and keep the channel PG, but wow, I almost let one slip there. Wow, I was not, like, when you get into boost, my goodness.
There's another one.
All right, so got camera 2 rolling, getting into some of the twisties. Yeah, this thing is like glued.
Yeah, it's got absolutely amazing, like, cornering.
Here we go, nice tight corner. I will definitely put some audio up of that quick pull I did, and I mean, this thing just goes, it grips. All-wheel drive is super nice. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I guess Volkswagen's doing something right.
Did you say German engineering? And
yeah,
personally, I've always kind of avoided German cars because every time I've been in, and I mean, Volkswagen, it definitely did something right with this R. My biggest gripe is usually with the BMW, Audi infotainment systems. I just feel like they're complicated, and again, that's on the newer ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Volkswagen, I mean, the steering wheel feels great, the steering itself feels great, it feels glued to the road. I definitely have no complaints. This is really fun. Quick interjection here. Matt's got a whole host of cars, and
yes.
I'm really hoping before summer's over, it's an 84? Did I remember right?
Yes.
84 BMW 5 Series, and it is wild. I am super excited to be able to show that to you guys. I'm gonna do a pull here, doing 30.
What did you miss for?
It's shifted so smooth, I didn't realize I was in for.
Oh, thought you missed it, honestly.
Wow, that moves.
Yeah.
That moves. Got some of the twisties, and I am very impressed. Whoever did the tuning on this did a really good job.
Well, that was me.
You did the tuning yourself?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
It's so basically I borrowed our buddy Saul. Borrowed his laptop.
Oh, I remember that.
Yep, and I borrowed his cable. Yeah, I spent one night after the shop, plugged it in. Probably only took me, it took about an hour, maybe an hour and a half to do it. And yeah, it started ripping. And that's when we kind of realized.
Definitely ripping.
That's when we kind of realized that, yeah, that the original clutch, the factory clutch, was not liking the tune at all. And from what a tech friend of ours told me, that he's heard that it's pretty common with Volkswagens that they do not like it when you start modding them, that the clutches don't like it. So he's like, you're definitely going to need a stage 2 clutch.
It is really comfortable. The exhaust, you can hear it, but it is definitely not droney.
Yeah.
And I'm doing like 55, and once you let off and just cruise, it's
Right, we're currently
nice.
in sport mode.
Oh,
I have different modes.
forgot about that.
Or sorry, race mode. And you can adjust the sounding of it. Or you can go to individual, but individual is literally the same as race right now, as I have it set up. But I like the sound of the race because, you know, the sounds a little bit louder, but it's not overbearing.
No, not at all.
It's not like, oh, you know, like, oh my God, my head, you know.
That is always the trick, especially, I feel like 4 cylinders, it's the toughest, is to find an exhaust that sounds really, really good when you're on it.
And I get a lot with everybody that rides in this, and they're like, you know, I really like the way your exhaust sounds. So like, it's not too loud, but it's not too quiet either. It's just like at that right level.
Yeah. No, it is, I would dare to say perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and it's really throaty when you open it up, you know.
Well, and just, I mean, I was already at like highway cruising speed and stepped on it in 3rd gear, and there was just tons of room left.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's literally
it wants
instant
to go.
power. It's true, and here's the difference with the ECU tune and just a Cobb Access port, for example. Like, it's direct. Like, the ECU tune is direct to your ECU, and it's immediate power.
Yeah.
And whereas there's nothing wrong with you know, a Cobb thing either. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, if you want to go that route, but I was weighing my options. Yeah, it's a little, and it's almost the same price, really. I mean, it's like $100 difference, honestly.
Gotcha.
And I was just like, there's not really a whole lot of room for an access port in here to really mount one in a really good place. I honestly would prefer the ECU, honestly. This is my first like car that I've had that I've modified it like that. So, you know, our buddy Saul, he was like, you know, honestly, he's like, I would go for the direct ECU tune. He's like, it's a direct tune, not, you know, an access port tune. Now, I don't know a whole lot about Cobb, so don't hate me on this. You know? Like, I don't know a lot. You know, I just know a little bit. You know, from my friends who do have access ports, and you know, their cars are definitely worth it to have the access ports. You know, and they like it. But I don't have to shut the car down and go into the access port and change the tune to something else, because it's
Right.
And it's kind of also like invisible in a way. Like, nobody really knows the car is modded when you come up to it. You're like, oh,
That's
it's
true.
super clean, you know.
If you're going for the sleeper effect.
Right. It's yeah, like I was just gonna say, it's almost like the sleeper effect, you know. Like, nobody's gonna be expecting it, and then when they get in it and they're like, oh my gosh, you know, like, that's so crazy.
So now that we're getting into town a little more here, casual Ferrari next to us.
Oh yeah.
What was your first car that you really like got you into car culture? What got you into car culture?
I would say the BMW, because I mean, I've had other cars, but like, I didn't start out with just immediately like how a lot of people nowadays, you know, a lot of kids nowadays, they can just go, you know, no offense, but mommy and daddy buy you, you know, your first car from the store, and it's like brand new or practically brand new. You know, my parents didn't have that option. They're like, okay,
I definitely didn't either.
yeah, so they're like, you know, you're gonna, and I was just happy to get a car. You know, my first car was, I think it was like a 90, I want to say it's 92 Ford Tempo. It was my grandmother's car, and I was just happy to get a car.
Right, exactly.
You know, it was a sedan. I was just happy to have a car, you know, and I paid like $300 for it, you know. And then I got a truck. My dad bought me a truck when I turned 16. He bought me a truck. Then that was my first truck, and it's the only truck I've ever owned. Still have it, and it's got 370,000 miles.
Holy cow!
On the original motor. Trans is original, but it was rebuilt, and that blew out after 300,000 miles,
Wow.
which is very unheard of
For a Chrysler.
for a Dodge of that era. And so, but I have no intentions of ever getting rid of it. Even though my mother hates me for owning so many cars, and she's like, "Why do you own so many?" I'm like, "I don't know. She's like, "Well, you gotta get rid of some." I'm like, "I'm trying," you know. But it's got a sentimental value.
Right.
My dad passed away in 2015, a day before I graduated high school.
Oh man.
And it was just like, he bought me my first truck, so it was sentimental. So I was like, I'm never gonna get rid of it. Money-wise, I just don't see it being worth a whole lot, even if I did try to sell it. You know, because who's gonna buy an 02 Ram with almost half a million miles on it? You know, I'm like, it's just not.
At that point, it's a challenge to get as many as you can on there before
right, and it's like, you know what, it's done me great. You know, I'll fix it and I'll continue to drive it until just one day it decides it doesn't want to be fixed anymore.
Well, we're getting back to close to my place, so I think it's about time to wrap it up here. Huge thanks to Matt for letting me drive his car.
Yeah, absolutely, no problem.
It's always a big trust thing, letting somebody else drive, and I very much appreciate it. Gave us some awesome info on the Golf R, and had some good conversation here. So
feel free to correct me if I got anything wrong.
Yeah, leave
I'm
comments.
not claiming
leave
to be like a
comments
major
below.
expert in anything. This is just like what I have been told and what I've like little research that I've done. But
yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you have anybody that might want to let me drive their car as well, let me know. Looking for more reviews to do this summer. And we'll see you next time. Have a good one.